For walkers, the most important thing you'll ever buy is a good pair of boots.
Are the Salomon Quest 4D 3 GTX the right boots for you?
Let's find out.
Anything means forever, ever, or to never mind.
Hello, this is Ceri.
And this is Kat. We are T in Valhalla, and today we want to talk to you about the Salomon Quest 4D 3 GTX hiking boot.
I'm going to put all of the stats on screen that you'll get off the manufacturer's website.
And I want to talk to you about my experience in these boots, how I found them, and my personal experience with them really, out on the trail.
So I first bought Ceri a pair of these Salomon boots back in 2016.
Yeah, and we picked up the second pair in 2018. They both sets probably done around 800 to 900 miles a pair.
How did you first feel when you put them on? Did you? Because they are quite bulky looking. So...
I can remember, I remember getting them out of the box and thinking, holy moly, that's a big boot.
Because you came straight from trainers, didn't you? Trainers and walking shoes. So that must have been a bit of a shock.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming out of the box, I thought they're huge. I'm never going to get on with them. But I remember putting them on and sliding my foot in there and instantly feeling reassured. Good padding, very lightweight as well. I didn't need to wear them around the house or anything. We literally, the excitement took over.
No.
We flung on the boots, popped on the jacket, and we were straight out. I think we did a 12-mile walk around the local area, and there was no rubbing, no soreness.
No, you've never had a blister, you said?
And 0 blisters. So 4 years, lots of miles, 0 blisters.
Yeah, I think interestingly, these are really quite flexible, aren't they? Quite agile boots.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And Ceri has used them on lots of different terrain. You've used them on moors. You've used them on mountains. And you've even used them on scrambles.
Yeah, I think that the dexterity in these boots is fantastic. I mean, you can see there's a little bit of give there, so they're not firm, they don't hold their shape, they're not too rigid. There is a little bit of movement there, and we'll come back to that later on. But one of the key features is the contra grip sole.
Yeah, because at first, when I was first looking at these, I thought that the sole was actually quite thin.
Yeah.
And that worried me a little bit. I thought, oh dear, it doesn't look very sort of solid. But actually, the grip you found absolutely fantastic, didn't you?
The grip combined with the ankle support, it was just fantastic. It resulted in me never having to sort of turn my ankle. I've got a bit of a bad right ankle, and I'm always a bit cautious and maybe a little bit sort of Bambi-like at times on it. I never once turned my ankle in either pair of these boots.
No.
And I found the grip on these soles was fantastic on all the different terrains, whether it was path walking, screes, boulders, you name it, the scrambling. They were sure-footed. I felt very confident in what I was doing.
Yes.
I mean, one of the other key factors as well that lured us onto these boots was the fact that they're a GORETEX boots. So that anyone that doesn't know what GORETEX is, it's a lightweight, breathable, waterproof membrane, and they come a good 3/4 of the way up the boot here. You can see, I think it's this red part here, and you can see it's all interwoven under the main sort of build of the boot, and that gives it its waterproof qualities.
Yeah, you also like the tongue, don't you? You always said it never sort of snagged up. The pair of shoes I have currently, I tend to get an issue where the tongue starts to curl its way round, but it's got one of these gator tongues, isn't it?
Yeah, big gator tongue. So you can see, I pull the tongue out. I'll try and give you a closer shot, but it comes again just up to the top sort of lacing eye here, and there's this gated section which stops obviously water ingress, it stops dust, pebbles, and little bits of stone and things getting in your shoe as you're walking. And as Kat just said, it stops the tongue twisting around your foot and causing discomfort or distraction as you're hiking. Another really good quality, another good feature on these boots is the toe protection in them. The big guard there at the front is fantastic for stubbing your toe against rocks, sharp edges, ultimate protection, but also when you're coming down off of a hill or a mountain, I found there was very little impact. They're a good fit. I found there was very little impact.
Yeah, because the difference between me and you, I used to come off almost hobbling from the front of my toes being sort of hit against the front of my shoes, and you used to go, oh, I'm fine.
Yeah, it is worth mentioning with these boots, I'm a size 10 for my regular, you know, my shoes, my hiking shoes and things that I was wearing previously, but I did have to step up to a size 10 and a half into these boots. Again, we read everywhere online, didn't we? We took the advice of other people.
Yeah.
Some friends gave us a bit of a feedback on that. So I went half a size bigger to be paired with, you know, hiking sock.
But also, on a lot of reviews, we've been told that these are seen as narrow boots, and that across the actual width of the foot, these are narrow. But Ceri is actually a slightly wider foot, yet you found no problem with these, did you?
I had no issue with them pinching my toes together, which is something I do struggle with in trainers and other shoes and things. But yeah, they're quite wide, they're quite generous. So I'd say they were maybe ever so slightly above a medium sort of width. Oh. Cat's going in for the tea.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. Yeah, another thing worth mentioning and talking about is the eyelets on the boots and the laces. I mean, the eyelets are all metal thread through, other than the bottom ones here, which are obviously part of the material. That's where you start your lacing up process, and then you come up into the metal eyelets and you thread through, crisscross, and it just helps the laces feed freely through, so the adjustment process is really easy. Again, you don't find that they're over tightened, or you can easily tweak them as you're going.
And I must admit, I have never ever noticed that these laces come undone.
No.
My laces will come undone nearly every time I'm out, but yours never, do they?
They're still the original laces on both pairs. There's little to no fraying on them. As I just mentioned, they move freely through the eyelets without any problem. And here you have a locking eye on the sort of ankle part of the boot here, up into two other little hooked eye pieces towards the top. And the idea behind these is once you're doing them up, you pull it in there, give it a tight little lock, and it just stops it sort of coming back down, working itself loose or coming undone. But also once you've got your boot comfortably on and you're knotted up properly into your boots, should you need to adjust yourself as you're walking, you can just pop the laces out of the eyelet and pull open your tongue, pop your foot out, and you know.
Which is great, because on long walks, really long walks, you'll find that your feet swell slightly, so you do sometimes have to adjust them if you're doing,
yeah, have a little break, and sometimes maybe you want to, I don't know, give your feet a bit of a breather. Yeah.
Oh, what about your little pull-on? You love that, don't you?
Absolutely, yeah. Another little pro to these boots is the tassel here at the back, the little trigger. I don't know what it's called, to be honest with you, for pulling the boots on and off. Again, avoid getting muddy hands at the start of or the end of your hike.
I'm very jealous of them, because I have to put sort of hoik mine on, and I do end up with filthy hands.
Yeah,
and you're just like, ooh.
You've either got to try, yeah, and without that you end up damaging, pulling at your boots, don't you?
I agree, yeah.
You're pulling at the sort of padded area at the top, and you potentially cause a bit of damage. So that's a really simple but key little feature. And also the support here on this section here, there's a nice reinforced plastic piece that comes across the heel here. And that again just provides you that little bit of extra stability and support.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering whether the sole, that support, and the high ankle coverage just again reduces any chance of twisting and doing yourself a mischief.
Yeah, because you have never turned ankle in it. Ceri, what's the downside of these shoes?
The downside, hold on, let me take a swig of tea. Well, yeah, this is going to get serious, it's going to get nasty now. The drawbacks to these boots for me would be leakage. I think 5, maybe 6 months into each pair, they started to leak a little bit of water for me.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he found this out on Ben Nevis in snow, which is a very unfortunate place to find that it does ingress snow and water, and that was a really unfortunate thing.
And that was prior to me wearing any sort of waterproof sock or anything at that point, so my feet got quite wet, and then I had, you know, the rest of the walk and what was to follow with wet feet. But you know, that's another story. But yeah, they started to leak water 5 to 6 months in, and again I can show you probably a little bit closer on the camera in a minute. I think it might be from one of the pros, the way you've got that flexibility on them, where they are good and easy to move when you're out and about. there is a slight crack sort of in there, and that's across all of the boots.
All of them, yeah. It was no different between both pairs. And I did proof these properly, clean them, proof them with the correct chemicals in the correct way, but it didn't make any difference, and I'm not sure what the reason is for that, but it happened on both pairs. This isn't just one thing that happened on one pair. It happened on both pairs, and we did as was requested.
Yeah, absolutely. Manufacturer guidelines and care sort of procedure.
But it didn't
followed.
seem to make any difference. We definitely wouldn't take them in extremely wet.
Wet foot feeling. No one likes that, do they? Let's be honest.
No, because in the end, it's what led us to buying waterproof socks.
Yeah.
Which we love, so that's fine, but it was more, you shouldn't have to get extra things when you're paying this kind of money for a boot.
Coming out of the hiking trainers and shoes I was wearing prior to these, I thought, oh, excellent, dry feet all the way.
Forever.
And I remember the heartbreak, heartbreak.
You were though, you were
I was
upset.
a little bit disappointed. Yeah, you pay a substantial amount of money for something like this.
You don't expect it.
And you think, you know, you're going to get a good long service dry foot out of them, and I felt a little bit let down by that. So that leads nicely onto the second drawback that I found with them, and it's the opposite. So from leaky boots to overly insulated boots potentially. I run quite warm as a person in general.
You do.
But I found my feet got quite hot in these boots.
Yeah.
So I was having to use like a foot powder. I'll bring that down in a minute and flash that in front of the camera.
Yeah, it's a proper foot powder, but you have to use quite a lot of it.
Yeah, so I was putting a little bit in at the start of each walk, and then again at the end of the walk when I was pulling my foot out, they were hot. But those would be my two biggest drawbacks with these boots. I mean, like you said, I love them to bits. I love them enough to get a second pair, and you know, I'd still wear them to this day. I'd still, you know, for the right occasion, they're a great boot. Worth mentioning as well, we do a lot of varied walking, coastal, Dartmoor, mountains, hills, but you could just as easily wear these on day-to-day.
I'd agree, because they are so agile and light, very light on, surprisingly. You could really just use them for anything, couldn't you? You could use them for day-to-day business. Yeah. Although obviously a little bit expensive for day-to-day wear, but you could. Depending
on you know, what you.
Well, yeah, because if someone needs stability, because you know there are some people that do have sort of weak ankles or need extra stability.
Or maybe you've got a very pulley dog. I don't know.
God, yeah, no, that is true, because yours used to be like that.
Yeah.
So what would your summary of these boots be then, would you say, if you're looking for a first time walking boot?
I'd give these boots a massive thumbs up, and I'd highly recommend them to anybody, to be honest with you. You say, I like them so much I bought a second pair. I mean, that in itself says something. They were really good, they were very reliable, despite the couple of minuses I mentioned earlier. But yeah, overall thoughts, highly recommended.
I want to make him rate them out of 10, but he won't do it.
If I was to rate these out of 10,
go on.
I'd give them an 8.
Ooh.
I've gone for it, I've done it. I said to Kat I didn't want to rate them out of 10. But yeah, I think I'd give them an 8. I'm going to minus the 2 points for the negatives that I mentioned. And I think an 8 out of 10 is a fair score for these boots.
Yeah, I think for a first time walking boot, you will not go wrong with them.
Yeah, still plenty of life left in them. I will still wear these boots, and I will, you know, they will come out and see the light of day again.
So thank you very much for watching. I hope that was helpful for anyone that was wondering about if they should spend their hard-earned money on these Salomon boots.
Yeah, if you've got any questions, anything we haven't brought up in this video, or if you think of something that I've missed, please drop me a question down in the comments, and I'll try to reply when I can. Yeah, thank you for joining us. Hopefully you found this video useful. We'll see you again soon, hopefully outside of the living room.
Ooh, chin chin. Boots. Look away for boots.